Good morning, everyone. Well, it's tax day, so I have to fill out my forms and send them in and see what happens. But before I do that, the forms are filled out, I just have to sign them. I have been, as you know, for those of you that watch my program, I've been making fish lately. And some of the fish I have been making, I have done on making them out of cardboard, and some of them I draw on these paint swatches, Benjamin Moore paint swatches. And sometimes the paint swatches, this paint swatch paper is more resistant to the ink than other times. Let's see if I can find an example of that. Or not, but I like the effect that it gives. So I've been looking in this book to find inspiration for my doodle fish. And I've been using essentially two pens for these. This one, my Jack Webb pen, and this one, my Waterman, it's almost an accountant nib. Is it an accountant nib in fact? No, it acts like one, but it isn't. And the difference between using these pens is night and day. This one is night and this one is day. Or I don't know, night and day doesn't sound, they're opposites in terms of the pleasure that they give me and how they work. And it just goes to show that yes, there are pens that will suit me better than others. And I have very, very broad tastes. I love big moppy flexible nibs. I also love very fine firm nibs. But the ones that I don't like, I think, are the medium firm nibs. I think the range of a fine firm nib, you do get a little tiny bit of flexibility in any fountain pen. But if it's too broad to begin with, and if it doesn't do anything after you apply pressure, if it doesn't do much, then it really bothers me, and that's what this pen does. And I've tried to draw with it in a way that I think would be fun, and I like this fish. It looks like it got its tail caught in the car door. It goes. This pen just really does not make me smile. It makes me angry. What it's making me, and I thought I would learn to love it. I really, really tried, and I'm trying again now to just say, okay, I know what it does. I know what this pen can only do this, but the only isn't good enough. It's like having a car that you only use to go to the grocery store. Okay, well, that's a very important car to have because you do need to go to the grocery store. And this is a weird fish. All fishes are weird, but this one is particular. This thing caught in the door, and then these little tiny fins. Like, why wouldn't it have bigger fins there? And why is this caught in the door? Why does that go up? There's probably a reason. Yes, of course there's a reason. In its particular... No, I'm out of ink. On top of this pen is out of ink. This pen that I hate is out of ink. Well, I'm not going to fill it. I'm just going to dip it at this point because I'm not going to be writing with this that much. I may put a different nib in it, but anyway, so this nib, this fish, has 4 big spots, and it has this broken tail, and it has these little tiny fins. And so let's imagine, okay, where would this fish, what habitat did this fish require this change? Can you help me with that one? See, this is what's happening. See the ink, the water is beating up on this paper. The paper is just not at all absorbing any of this. And sometimes the paper ink sample, the paint sample swatch paper works fine, and other times it doesn't. And I like the idea that I never really quite know until I start doing this. And it's kind of fun to have this this surprise, this insecurity. So I can sort of smush it with my finger, and that sort of digs into the nooks and crannies of the paint, or whatever the heck it is that's causing it to stay. And so it's kind of like finger painting, but then I put this on top of it, and it just sits on top of the paper. So why would they need these little tiny fins? Okay, I'm gonna put this fish aside, and I'm gonna try it. Let me try it on something that I think is gonna be different. I don't know if this is going to be different, but I'm going to pretend it is. Again, with the Jack Webb pen the Sgt Friday Jack Webb pen. It likes to make straight lines, so I'm going to make a straight line fish. And again, this paper is doing the thing that this paper does, which looks like it beads up a little bit, maybe not as much as it was doing before. I'm making this other fish, this John Dory fish here, and it's not necessarily made of straight lines, but this guy has a fin that goes up. It only has 1 dot right here. This other one had 4 spots. Then it has sort of a bat wing here, and then a different fin structure there, and then a little tail here. This pen makes me want to use really simple words. This is the pen that would write a speech for our President of the United States that we have right now until he's deposed or exiled or whatever is going to happen to him. Carved into Mount Rushmore if his fans have any say about it. But this pen wants to make simple lines, wants to write simple words. You know, the word that it wants to write the most is very, because rather than coming up with an actual descriptive word, adjective to go in front of a noun, it'll just go with the default of very. It was very big. It's very huge. It wasn't extraordinarily huge or surprisingly big. No, it was very. So doesn't tell you a damn thing, Mr. Speechwriter. And this pen wants to do that. It wants to describe things in simple terms. And I am not a wordsmith by any stretch of any imagination, but when I draw and I make lines, I usually like to have my lines have a descriptive aspect to them, a varied aspect to them. I want it to be meaningful and informative instead of just another word to make the speech longer or the drawing bigger or more detailed. I want it to be fun to look at. Now, this doodle, this fish that I'm drawing here, does this say anything about fishes to you? It doesn't necessarily say a damn thing about fishes to me, but I want it to make you smile, at least. Does it look like this fish? No. Is it supposed to look like that fish? I could do a much nicer drawing of that fish if I wanted to. I could make it look very, see, look at me, very similar, very, very similar. I could make it be very, very similar. See, I'm using this pen and it makes me stupid. This pen makes me stupid. I don't like pens that make me stupid. I could make it more realistic. I could render it descriptively. This pen could do that if I wanted it to. Now, I'm going to use my Waterman pen. So here, it's a perfectly lovely little doodle. I'm going to use now this pen, the Waterman, that has the nib that speaks to me. And I'll draw the same kind of fish. This pen, because it has a more flexible nib and it's finer, more delicate, I'm able to sort of make lines, lots of lines on this page without having it be bulky. That was the other thing about that pen. It's sort of everything, the first line you put down on the page was bulky. And bulky and ugly. So it was not only uninteresting and stupid, it was loud on top of it. And we know how much we hate that. You know, we all have neighbors that are like that. You know, they're really, really stupid. And they're probably loud. And are they bulky? Am I suggesting that stupid people are overweight? Not necessarily. I don't mean that. Bulky is in the sense of there's heft without strength. You know, there's a reason why the walls of a Gothic cathedral are bulky. They're fat because they have to hold up the rest of it. You know, some of these big monster pickup trucks that you see at the Costco store, they don't actually, they seem bulky to me because they don't need to be that big to actually pick up your groceries, even if you're buying them at Costco and you have to buy the 50-gallon drum of milk rather than the carton, the half pint or whatever they come in. So this pen has a vocabulary that's far greater than the Jack Webb pen, just the Fax pen. It has, it's a pleasure to write with, to draw with, because there's that extra little give that the pen has. And when you put the pen to the paper and make the line just doesn't bark at you in a nasty way. It can be quiet, and it can be, I could have pressed down really hard and had big thick lines like this all the time, but the pen doesn't want me to do it, and consequently I don't want it to do it. The pen informs me. I guess I've said this many, many times, and I don't have to say it anymore. So the Jack Webb pen is functional and bulky and big, but it doesn't sing to me. It doesn't. There's no poetry in it. There's no. And I don't know. I don't know how I would use that pen. It made a lovely drawing. This is fine. It did that. And there's nothing wrong with it, I guess, but it wasn't as pleasurable to move around the page as this Waterman is. Now this drawing may not be as nice as the one I did before, so we'll cross that bridge when I decide this is finished. Part of it is I don't know what else I want to say in this video. You people that are tuning in and maybe never seen me before. This is as good as it gets. Sorry. Now the Jack Webb pen it's like having a station wagon that is good for going to the grocery store, but for some reason the grocery store that you go to using that only has 3 products on the shelves, and only one of those products are what you want. So the whole process is unsatisfying, even though you can buy your milk or whatever it was that whatever was on your shopping list. You are able to get one thing, but it's not enough. I want more. I'm no longer looking at the fish that I'm drawing. I'm just pushing lines around. Maybe I need to look at the fish I'm drawing to actually come up with something more interesting than what I'm doing right now. It's okay. It's a doodle. So these drawings I'm making, I'm going to put in a pile, and I'm going to sell for $10 each. Except the money's not going to go into my pocket. It's going to go into the donation box at the gallery in our building. I've been using the gallery and other people have been using the gallery during the COVID nightmare, the China flu nightmare, in order to be social with one another. We're using it to hang out safely apart from each other, but we're able to talk and have some sort of semblance of socialness in the same room without damage of worry about infecting each other. But because I'm able to work in the gallery and not up in my house, it's been really quite a little godsend, I guess I could call it that. And this is my thank you. You know, if someone wants to buy this for $10, they donate $10 to the gallery to help pay for its electric bill and things like that. And I think this is worth $10. Do you think it's worth $10? Orca, my cat, is going to join me now. Orca. So I'm gonna keep this pen, but I'm gonna try a different nib in it and see if it makes me smile more. I'll keep the holder. The reason I bought it, I thought it would have a better nib than it does, more to my taste than it does. This might be the perfect nib for you, but it's not really for me. And okay, Orca, is that all you wanted to do, was walk across my line of sight? But I'll put a nice some other kind of a nib in it, and it'll make me want to use it more. So Jack Webb, I'm sorry that I'm not able to channel your worldview, because I know this pen would have been perfect for you. Maybe not Jack Webb. Oh, I think so. I think Jack Webb was very similar to the character he played. I think he was a Law and Order kind of guy. What does this do? Oh, it comes off. It's like you could, I guess you can't. I thought you could add more stripes. Like, you know, when you went from a lieutenant to a commander, you'd get another one of these gold rings, and so it would match your uniform. My pen matches my uniform. Yes, sir. It certainly does. Does your pen match your outfit? It should. You've got enough of them. I'm wearing my pinstripe today. Oh, you are? Well, in that case, get out your Vacuumatic. I'm wearing my seersucker suit. Vacuumatic. I'm wearing my salt and pepper herringbone. Well, you better get out that Conklin. You see? Now what would I wear with this? This plaid shirt. They don't really have plaid pens, so I might have to deal with color. A Univer, perhaps? What is this? This is it's certainly not a Univer nib. This is a Franken pen of mine. I put a 19th century dip nib in it. Very springy. Wow. See this one? I want to make fish with this one. Look at that fish. I know this is horrible for me to say, but when I saw this fish with the little, God damn it, that hurt. The little tiny fins, I was immediately thought of thalidomide children, because my mind does that. Goes right to the bad taste department. Did I break this nib? No. But it does, you know, it looks like that mutation that made that little tiny fin and this fin that goes up. You know, there has to be a reason for that fish to do that. You know, does this fish need to go around corners or something? I don't get it. I guess I could read the words. Maybe the words would explain it. I look at pictures. I've got lots of books and I look at pictures. But I should actually read them. So I may keep this pen out and do some more things like that. Okay, bye. Sorry to have wasted 25 minutes and 44 seconds. Bye.